All right, guys, we are live. And what is going on? This is the Club with the Man 1993 coming at you for a special live stream. First of two I will be doing during this WrestleMania week. So as I said, I promised this last week I didn't get to do a special live stream due to my busy schedule with the Easter holiday and everything. So I said I was going to do two this week. The first one I'm doing tonight. The second one I'll be doing tomorrow during the Hall of Fame ceremony. I will do my WrestleMania special Q&A that I left the video last week for you to leave your questions if you guys would like to ask me any questions you want. And so this video, though, it says in the description box below. This video was the idea for this live stream is actually, an idea originally from my good friend Robbie One Kenobi here on YouTube. He wanted to do this video collaboration with me and our other Horseman brothers. We haven't been able to do a stream in a while together. We've all been busy with our own schedules. So he had this idea we're going to do together. But the past couple times that Robbie and I tried to do a stream together, for some reason we had issues where I could hear him, but he couldn't hear me. So we had that issue come into play, and so we haven't been able to stream for a while. So I don't know what the issue is. But I thought I would still at least take up the idea and still do it for this special stream as well. Nobody in the live chat yet. That's okay. Don't expect people to be in the live chat. I'm not really that great anyways here. But anyway, so this stream, as you call, is called the Top 10 WrestleMania Hidden Gems. Now, last summer, Robbie did one. I did a video response to it called his Top 10 NXT TakeOver Hidden Gems. And what a hidden gem is, if you don't understand what this is more of like an underrated match, like a match that definitely, was great. It's remembered for WrestleMania, like from a fan's perspective, but it doesn't really get the recognition it deserves. So I went back and good thing. Now, here's the thing. I've had to change this list up how many times? Actually, 15 minutes ago, I realized I didn't have 10. I only had 9 in there. I don't know how I overlooked that. So my list again, as all you know, I did at least do a WrestleMania retro review series last fall. So there's definitely some matches that stood out to me, but some of the ones that I enjoyed wouldn't consider them hidden gems. I consider them, more more well known. But there are some matches I feel that just don't quite get the recognition that they deserve. And I've changed this list up several times. I wasn't sure if any of these were definitely efficient enough for this list to be considered hidden gem, or if they really are worth talking about as well. So I came up with a list. I think I'm pretty pleased with it. So we'll see how it goes. If you appear in the live chat, leave your thoughts as well for this topic as well in the live chat if you would like to as well. Again, don't have anybody there, but oh well, doesn't matter. Anyway, so let's get into this with my top 10 WrestleMania hidden gems of all time. Number 10 is a match that the match was good. It was part of a WrestleMania though that was not real. It was really only known just for one match, and there was another match in this WrestleMania earlier that determined the special guest referee for the main event, which was the first match of Stone Cold's, the first of the three Rock and Austin matches that took place at WrestleMania. But this show also, there was another match that I remember. The match itself wasn't too bad. I feel like it's definitely underrated because of the talent involved, and also it involved a moment in the match that was kind of like it planted the seeds for the beginning of steering a certain superstar in a direction to the future Hall of Famer that the superstar definitely is, even though he's still a corporate character on TV today. But I'm talking about this match. It's from WrestleMania 15. Shane McMahon versus X-Pac for the European Championship. Now, definitely X-Pac at that time was before he turned heel, and I kept hearing that once X-Pac turned heel, his career went downhill, but he was a great babyface, part of D-Generation X. And then Shane McMahon, who, this is only, I think, one of his first or second matches at WrestleMania. It was one of his first few matches. He didn't have a heck of a lot of matches at WrestleMania, but he was the heel European champion at the time, as, the corporation was formed. Well, earlier in the show, we had Triple H taking on Kane in a really dull match. It was boring and whatnot. But recently, Chyna had turned heel and joined the corporation. Well, she turned on Triple H and joined the corporation. But then in this match with Triple H and Kane, Chyna turned on Kane, who there was a little bit of a story going between there then. And then Triple H and China to reunite because China turned on Kane. Well, then later on in this match, the same thing kind of happened with, the corporation out to, target, D-Generation X and plus also, to keep the title on one of their guys as well, on Shane McMahon. I mean, besides, the interference at the end, though, the match I thought was still a pretty solid match. But the big part about this match, though, the reason why I put this at number 10 was because of the turn that happened, and it set the stage for Triple H. As Triple H was the one who costed X-Pac the match, and Shane McMahon won the match as he turned heel and hit X-Pac with a pedigree, having Triple H especially join the corporation. That's where Triple H, started to become going his big heel run. This is not too long also after Shawn Michaels was on his hiatus. So since Shawn Michaels was gone for a while, Triple H was like, the next big star up and coming. We saw The Rock and, Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is like, Triple H is the next like rising star pretty much. And it's pretty much just taking Shawn Michaels' spot set up for their feud whenever Michaels did return to full action in 2002. But the match itself was so good, but this was like a pinnacle moment for Triple H's career. The heel turn got him to join the corporation. He pretty much just bought himself into the McMahon family, married Stephanie eventually. The McMahon-Helmsley era started up, and it led to Triple H to having all of that power and going on for the run of his career, and eventually made him into a top star and a future Hall of Famer. So that was the main reason why I picked that match. Was the match between Shane and X-Pac was good too. Definitely underrated talents in the ring. But I think I mainly chose this matchup because of the angle in the match with Triple H turning heel, joining the corporation, and pretty much just starting the big run of his career that made him a star. After him being this that English prince, or whatever he was, the Hunter, he was just Hunter Hearst Helmsley back a few years ago. He got squashed by what's it called now? Ultimate Warrior, and a few other things. I mean, he wasn't bad, but this was what the turn that like steered him towards him being a main eventer, because he was part of the main event of WrestleMania 16 whenever Vince McMahon turned on his longtime right hand man, The Rock, there in that match, in that fatal 4-way elimination with McMahon in a single corner. But my number 10 is Shane McMahon versus X-Pac for the European Championship at WrestleMania 15. Number 9 was a match. It was the opening match of WrestleMania 24. And I chose this match. I just thought it was a nice, really good physical match with the great use of weapons. I mean, there really isn't much like this match didn't really mean too much. I mean, it was basically just the angle wherever Vince McMahon was told he has an illegitimate son, and it ended up being a Hornswoggle. Even though rumors have it, at first it was supposed to be Mr. Kennedy, as Mr. Kennedy a year before had won the Money in the Bank contract, and the rumor was he was scheduled to get a big push. He was going to be revealed to be Mr. McMahon's illegitimate son, and he was going to face Triple H for the title at WrestleMania 24. I mean 24. Wasn't sure if he was going to win or not, but I can't remember. I know he suffered an injury though, and then I know also he suffered a suspension for violating the wellness policy. So that's when his career just was tanked and went downhill big time. But anyway, so that angle changed with Hornswoggle, and then whenever it was revealed that Hornswoggle was not Mr. McMahon's son, he was Finley's son. It involved in a feud with Fit Finley and JBL, and I thought the match that they had was an opening match WrestleMania 24. It was Finley taking on JBL in a Belfast brawl. I thought it was just one of those matches. It was definitely a strong opener, as I said before, but it was one of those matches with two, hard-hitting wrestlers that, just really knew how to use weapons well. It was, to me, it was just one match that just really stood out to me. And, WrestleMania 24 is definitely a great show in general with the matches that we had on there. We had, I'm trying to think of all matches we had in there. We had, main event was Undertaker and Edge. That's another probably one go on there. Of course, there was a night where Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels had Ric Flair's retirement match, the triple threat for the WWE title between Triple H, John Cena, and Randy Orton, the champion, and a couple other odds ends that weren't too bad there as well. But this match, I think, also is a match that could get overlooked. But I thought it was between two hard hitters that knew how to fight and use the weapons well. So that's why it is my number 9 on this list from WrestleMania 24. JBL versus Finley in a Belfast brawl. Number 8 was from a WrestleMania that I watched that I feel is one of the more underrated WrestleManias of all time. And a lot of people definitely didn't enjoy it as much as they did, because this is around the time where the John Cena hate really started to grow back in 2006, and people are starting to get sick of him. And Chicago gave him just hell for it, pretty much. I think, yeah, the match supposed to be the way it is, and it's supposed to be a rematch with this a year later, but Triple H was out injured, so instead that's when it was John Cena and Shawn Michaels. But this was right at the end, I think, of Triple H's last heel run before he turned heel and grew the Authority. If you hear noises, it's just my parents downstairs cheering for the Penguins. Formed the Authority in 2013, but Triple H and John Cena, the main event of WrestleMania 22. Again, I feel like that WrestleMania is very underrated. There was, again, despite the reaction the Chicago crowd gave, there was a lot of like good to solid matches on this card for WrestleMania 22. Trying to think, well, we had the classic with Edge and Mick Foley in the hardcore match. We had Mickie James and Trish Stratus. There's a couple other matches I enjoyed in the show, but also the main event, John Cena versus Triple H. It feels like a match that, yeah, it happened on any pay-per-view. It feels like a match that it was bound to happen at WrestleMania. But with the crowd reaction that John Cena was getting, like everybody just was sick of Cena, and they were not going to let up on him at all. Everything in this match got a reaction, pretty much what they did. And then, I mean, it was weird. I don't know if it was the best move to have John Cena get Triple H to tap out, which, I mean, it could have. I mean, I understand at the time, like, John Cena had like the feel like kind of like Roman Reigns has right now as well. I mean, it was probably around a time where John Cena was getting to the years where it's like, it seemed like every pay-per-view he was always involved in the title, in the main event spot all the time, pretty much. But in my opinion, I still think this match, is one of those matches that, yes, the people involved in it aren't probably the ones who won involved, that the crowd won. But I feel like for what the match was, it was still one of those moments where, okay, just at least give me a good match. And the match was still great. So I definitely think that's a match, that's a main event that was definitely a really, really solid on the card, and which is why that is my number 8 on my list of my top 10 WrestleMania Hidden Gems. So my number 8 is John Cena versus Triple H for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 22. Nobody in the live chat? Whatever. Oh well. Number 7 is a feud that, I watched both their pay-per-view matches they had back in 2009. And I thought they were both fun, like matches, not classics, but definitely fun matches. And I feel like, this one especially can be forgotten about because it happened at like a WrestleMania that was really only remembered for just one match, which was Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Of course, you realize I'm talking about WrestleMania 25. Well, they have at 26 also, but 26 was a little bit better than 25, but it definitely could have been better than it was. I still thought it was, for the most part, a solid show. 26. 25 was decent. But a match that I really enjoyed on that card was the match between Jeff and Matt Hardy. It was in the Extreme Rules match that they had. It was two guys that pretty much just, know how to do the extreme stunts and whatnot. Just go out there and just have one hell of a match. It was a lot of, I thought it was fun. These two, I get that, even I think it was Jeff said on Talk is Jericho podcast, admitted that I think fans more want to see the Hardy Boys together, not separated. But it was part of a good storyline where Jeff Hardy was suffering from these, accidents for several months that were wondering who was doing it. And at the time, Jeff Hardy was involved in the feud with Edge. Everybody thought it was going to be Edge, but it was eventually revealed to be Matt. As Matt just pretty much just expressed jealousy that Jeff always seemed like he's been the main guy, and Matt's just Jeff's brother, the other Hardy and whatnot. And I thought the Extreme Rules match they put on was pretty good. It got Matt also winning because Jeff Hardy definitely had a few. They don't have too many WrestleMania matches. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but it definitely had a moment for these two to share a moment on stage. I thought for the most part they put on a pretty good Extreme Rules match. I did like the I Quit match. They had a little bit better though when I watched that match at Backlash. It was one of those feuds that just intrigued me from the start because it was two guys I definitely, before they returned last year, were hoping I would have been able to see wrestle at WrestleMania 33. It was two guys that I definitely wanted to see live, and I think like I kind of got that feel by watching this match and the one at Backlash. There was a few that I was interested by seeing, the guys were involved in that. When I will go back and just look at matches and say, oh, see what these matches happen. What we're having with this and whatnot. You know what I mean? But that's my number 7. Jeff versus Matt Hardy at an Extreme Rules match at WrestleMania 25. Robbie's in the live chat. What's up, man? He said, what's up, Mike? Remember how hard you marked out when the Hardys returned last year? Oh, you bet I did. Everybody at the house, we all marked out last year. It was pretty good. Robbie said, originally Christian was supposed to be revealed as the guy who caused all the problems for Jeff, but I don't know why they dropped the idea. Christian being the one revealed. I mean, it makes it a little bit obvious because, he is Edge's best friend and whatnot. I think Matt. I mean, I wasn't watching back at the time, but I still think going with Matt may have been the better idea, as well. But I wonder why they would go with Christian. But interesting. Thanks for sharing that though with me, Robbie. Once again, this video idea was originally Robbie's idea, but I still wanted to follow up and take a stab at it just to see which ones I can come up with. But Robbie, if you're joining me live right now, I'll go over ones I've done so far. For my hidden gems, my number 10, again, I put this down because I thought the match was solid when I went back and watched it, but I mainly did because of the ending and how this angle pretty much set up Triple H to becoming an eventual top star in the company and pretty much steering sort of direction where his character mainly went for most of his career. But my number 10 was Shane McMahon versus X-Pac for European Championship, WrestleMania 15. Again, a solid match. But I've been able to put this in because of the angle where Triple H turned heel to join the corporation at the end of the match. Again, that set him off to pretty much, buying into the family and becoming, the top heel of one of the top heels of all time, pretty much. Number 9 was JBL versus Finlay in a Belfast Brawl, WrestleMania 24. Number 8 was John Cena versus Triple H, WrestleMania 22. And I just did Jeff and Matt in Extreme Rules match, WrestleMania 25. So just to update you, Robbie, that is my list. Robbie says, the genius has arrived. Yes, indeed. Robbie is a pure genius. And of course, I will get your plug in as always. I give you, Robbie, at the end of this video. So that's my number. That was my first 4 so far. I was moving on to number 6. Now, number 6 was a match that took place at WrestleMania 32. Now, there were 2 of these matches. They happened at WrestleMania 31 and WrestleMania 32. The one WrestleMania 31 was good, but it had a lot more experienced veterans on the roster already that I felt were capable of definitely pulling off a match like this. It was definitely good, but I gotta give it to the one having the WrestleMania 32 because the talent was definitely not as high of caliber in that match as it was the year before. So that, and also it set up, it planned the seeds for a feud that summer. Between 2 big names from NXT as well. And I'm talking about this match, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz versus Stardust versus Sin Cara and Zack Ryder in the Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania 32. Now, the year before, we got a 7-man ladder match. I believe everyone in the match was Bad News Barrett, who was the Intercontinental Champion, Daniel Bryan, who won it, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, Dean Ambrose, Stardust, and R-Truth. Know why he was in the match. And that match is like a little bit more stacked with more talent that you would expect to put on a good match. But I picked this one because you have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which I was wondering first they were going to have Kevin and Sami just be in the match fight for your IC title. But they had them, playing the seeds for their feud for this summer, just to continue on the story from NXT, from what happened, because they have unfinished business from there. We had Zack Ryder, who was not supposed to be in this match. Remember this. I always wondered, too. Zack Ryder was not supposed to be in this match. He was only in this match because Neville was supposed to be in there, but Neville got hurt. And he ended up winning a title and having a good performance in there as well. We had The Miz, who this was right before, at first I'm like, I wasn't like the biggest Miz fan, but this was right at the beginning before Maurice came back the following night, and he pretty much, became Intercontinental Champion. I'm like, oh, why is he Miz being champion? I don't care. But The Miz went on to now be someone who I do take seriously and do respect, have a lot more of a fan of. So this is a match that was starting his path there. We have Sin Cara, who even though I've never been a huge Sin Cara fan, didn't do too bad in this match either. Stardust was Cody Rhodes, one of his last matches here as well. And Dolph Ziggler, talent that really would just be thrown. Most of them would just be thrown in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, go out there and put it on a stellar ladder match. Keep in mind, I'm sure you know, if we didn't have the injuries, because this is a WrestleMania, we didn't have no John Cena, no Randy Orton, no Seth Rollins, a few others also. There were several big names that were missing from this pay-per-view due to injury. And I'm sure like some of these guys would not. Oh, Neville's said before, but I'm pretty sure that this Intercontinental title match would have had more stacked people in it, but it was given to guys who like really were some more low card wrestlers, but they put on a stellar match. And of course, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, were probably the biggest stars in this match as well, built their story as well, with Zayn pretty much being the one to stop Owens from getting his title back with that crazy bump he took. Like, it looked like Owens was dead going head first into the ladder, and that one bump, and a few other bumps I remember as well. But also, the surprise at the end, I still couldn't believe when it happened either. Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental title. Yes, it would have been nice to give him at least, like a run till the next pay-per-view as Intercontinental champion, but definitely long deserving for Zack Ryder. It did at least start maybe take Zack Ryder a little bit more seriously. I remember later that summer at Battleground, it was the match with Rusev and Zack Ryder. I remember that was Rusev's first, besides the Royal Rumble in 2014, that was Rusev's first main roster match, which was against Zack Ryder, and he just made Zack Ryder look silly. Well, in that match they had later on that month for the United States Championship at Battleground, it was a good match, and it looked like Zack Ryder did have a chance to win. So I think it was a big moment for Zack, and just the lack of experience. Well, not all of them, but it was given to a lot of guys the WWE probably wouldn't even trust to be put on like a big headline match like that. And it was just very stellar. And of course, Zack Ryder in this moment, and of course, building with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens moving forward. So that's why I had included some on my list. Again, the ladder match from WrestleMania 31 was great as well, but the talent involved, you expected the caliber match to put on. This match just surprised us all. Of course, it started on WrestleMania 32 on a strong note, and of course, eventually went down and down and down and down. I mean, the good amount of the matches weren't too bad. There's another one that I have on this list that I will get to at the end of this video, actually. But there was still some good matches on this show, but some of the results, everything just did not make sense at all. And of course, we're all burned out after that last hour and a half happened also. So, but that is my number 6. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz versus Stardust versus Sin Cara versus Zack Ryder in the Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania 32. Nothing in the live chat. That's fine. So that's my number 6. My number 5, Robbie. I love this match. I think when we did our WrestleMania memories series last year with the Horseman brothers, I think this was my number 5, my number 10. I can't remember if we did a top 5. We did a top 10. I think this is my number 10 on the list. But I definitely put this as my number 5 because this is a match I feel like is overlooked because it was not the main event of the show. But to me, it was still a fun match. And of course, just the story being told in this match was an absolute classic. Chris Jericho is pulling up being an absolute troll. Such a huge dick to CM Punk. It was so funny. And of course, I'm talking about the match at WrestleMania 28, the WWE Championship match between CM Punk and Chris Jericho at my number 5. This match, the first ever WrestleMania I watched was WrestleMania 29. One of the first WrestleManias I watched beforehand was WrestleMania 28 because Dan gave me, when Dan got the network and I didn't get the network right away, he gave me some old DVDs saying, "Hey, I'm not going to really need these anymore if you want to watch them." And one of them was WrestleMania 28. And I watched that show and I was blown away. I thought WrestleMania 28 is definitely one. Yes, it had some of its low points, but it was still a really strong show. But it's more remembered for John Cena and The Rock. Should have been once in a lifetime, but it was twice in a lifetime because of the following year. But this match, my goodness, it stood out to me because there was a night where John Laurinaitis became the full-time general manager, the official general manager of both Raw and SmackDown. "My name is Mr. John Laurinaitis, and I am the executive vice president of talent relations and the general manager for Raw and SmackDown." It feels weird saying SmackDown without saying SmackDown Live anymore. You know what I mean? But so he won earlier, and of course, they're building up the tension between him and Punk since Punk became champion. Of course, well, also since Punk discovered the fall before that he was the one behind this whole conspiracy thing that happened last fall. So he knows that Chris Jericho has been pushing Punk's buttons, insulting his family, insulting, his father, his sister, his mother, pretty much to talk about, alcohol and drugs and whatnot. And of course, my favorite also was whenever Chris Jericho says, "Your birthday took place before your parents' wedding date." So that makes you the true definition of a bastard. I don't know. I just like the way Jericho just delivered the promos as literally being, just this big jerk to Punk. Just like being like, I guess like a villainous heel big time, just attacking Punk in every way possible. So Laurinaitis knew that Punk pretty much just wanted to, rip Jericho to shreds. So he had the stipulation where if Punk gets disqualified or count out, whatever, then he will lose a title. There's no champion's advantage in this match. And Jericho did. I mean, wrestling-wise, it was still a great match. But what made this match even more comical and just, well, not just comical, but even better, was that Jericho was just pulling out all the stops, screaming out, "Hey, Punk! How's your father? How's your sister, Punk?" And of course, my favorite, if I had a steel chair in the room, he literally just like grabbed a chair, tossed it to Punk, and started screaming out, "Hit me in the head, Punk! Hit me in the head, Punk! Your father's a drunk, Punk! Your father's a drunk! Hit me in the head!" Like he was literally wanting to see Punk just literally just, beat the living crap out of him just to get himself disqualified. Oh man, it just cracked me up. And just, again, still being in the early years of my wrestling, of me being a wrestling fan, just seeing this match and just seeing, Jericho just pulling off all the stops, I'm like, dang, like that's a really good heel right there. So it's definitely one of my favorite matches. And again, with it being, on WrestleMania 28, it's overshadowed, I feel, because of, John Cena and The Rock, part 1. But this match was definitely great as well. And it would have made a great main event also if it wasn't for Cena and Rock. But Cena and Rock definitely, all due respect, need to be the main event of that show. Let's see here. Let's see here. Owens yelling, "Go back to NXT" to Sami. I forgot about that. Yeah, he was yelling that also. Robbie says, "Say it with me, Mike. Your father's a drunk. Your father's a drunk. Hit me, Punk. Hit me in the head." He was going crazy. He said, "Hey, Mike, Dan and Gene wanted me to remind you that if you get counted out or disqualified, it's still a loss." Oh, I will be talking about that match shortly also, because I feel like that's a match. Well, I'll explain when I get there. He said, "Just channeling my inner CM Punk, go for it. And remember, Punk tossing the urn around and dropping on TV and going, oh, shit." Oh, man. That again, we're going to be getting to that feud very soon also. I put that's on this list somehow a little later on, but we'll get to that. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that match as well. But Robbie, he channeling that inner CM Punk also, and still waiting to hear when that podcast comes out with you, just doing like a parody of the CM Punk podcast with all of us Horseman Bros. I cannot wait to hear that. All right, but my number 5 was, again, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho for the WWE Championship match, WrestleMania 28, and championship advantage was taken away from Punk. My number 4 for my list of my top 10 WrestleMania hidden gems. Now, this match took place, I still feel, is my favorite WrestleMania of all time to watch. Again, it was the second WrestleMania I ever watched, but it was the first one, as I say, when I was more familiar with the product. Now, this match, when I watched it again, when I went back and watched all the WrestleManias last fall, I thought, geez, if it wasn't for the results of this match, this was one heck of a match. As the guy who lost, definitely the way it ended, hurt him a little bit, I felt. But this fact that he eventually going to lose his feud was probably starting to downfall of his character, and now he was officially deleted recently to the Lake of Reincarnation. But before the mistake was made of, having John Cena, instead of hitting Bray Wyatt with a chair, instead of hitting, and he went and attacked Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, but just Bray Wyatt playing the mind games, trying to get John Cena just to, embrace like what Bray Wyatt feel he is, called him a liar and what that not, and pretty much just, just saying he's a fraud and everything. But man, though, until that happened, I watched this again. That match was the match with Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble was also a prime example also of how great Bray Wyatt is able to be. This match also just really, up until John Cena started striking Rowan and Harper and Rowan with the chair. This was one heck of a match. John Cena and Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30 was a really good match. Again, up until that ending, Bray Wyatt, in my opinion, looked like $1,000,000. Looked like $1,000,000 in that match. It just looked like the best was being brought out of him. And a lot of people don't give this match the credit it deserves because Cena won the match. I still agree. Bray Wyatt should have been the one winning the match again. The thing was, Bray Wyatt could have won there, won again at Extreme Rules in the steel cage match. Because here's the thing also, you think that didn't quite make sense to me a lot at the time also. Why would Cena want to fight Bray Wyatt in a steel cage match after he defeated him anyways with Harper and Rowan at ringside at WrestleMania 30? If Cena would have, lost at WrestleMania, then it would have made sense in the way he lost also. Cool. And I would have been okay with him winning the last man standing match at Payback. But again, other than that finish, though, this match at WrestleMania again was still probably will be Bray Wyatt's best match to begin with, because the only matches he had was WrestleMania 31 with Taker, which that was not great, but decent. But he lost there. WrestleMania 32, the Wyatt family got buried to The Rock and Cena. And then last year he came in as champion, but then he just, had a really weak match with Randy Orton. The only good thing about that match was the weird, little structures on the wrestling mat, which I thought was a little bit weird. But still, I think this match still is one that, despite the finish and the wrong person went over, man, was this still a really good match. The mind games that Bray Wyatt played on John Cena. It was so well done. And I just remember just enjoying that match even like 10 times better when I went back and watched again. Like, man, you guys got to still appreciate, the effort that the two of them had in the match. Bray Wyatt succeeded with the mind games until Cena finally fought through them and just beat down on Harper and Rowan with the chair after Cena was trying to, Wyatt was trying to get Cena to him with the chair and just to bring out that dark side in Cena, but it did not succeed there. But other than that, I still think this was one hell of a match. So that's why my number 4 for my hidden gems is John Cena versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30. Man, again, it's just too bad that Bray Wyatt had to lose that match, or Bray Wyatt was off the bet, like really good things if he would have beat Cena there. Number 3 is a match from WrestleMania 16. It features, well, at the time, someone who was a veteran, somebody who was, still a newcomer. We can't really talk about much today, and someone we just recently talked about also. It was a triple threat match, 2 out of 3 falls match against the guy who was both the Intercontinental and European champion. And I'm talking about Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit versus Chris Jericho. And again, in a 2 out of 3 falls, or 2 falls match, or whatever the heck it is. The first fall, I don't think it was complete 2 out of 3 falls, but it was 2 falls. But the winner of the first fall would become the Intercontinental champion, where the second fall would become the European champion. I put this match on the list because it was a match between 3 people, future Hall of Famers. Well, fortunately, one of them can't be a Hall of Famer because of, what happened with him. We're not going to talk about that here. But with Kurt Angle being the veteran and the upcomers and Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho, who had already made a name for himself in WCW, now just, on the rise in the WWF as well. Well, the WWE, sorry. Yeah, this was still the WWF at the time. And it was definitely guys, when they put them together, they could put on like classics. I remember Angle and Benoit had a match together. It was just a strong masterpiece of technical masterpiece of a match. A couple years later down the line, and I felt that it just like set the stage for these guys in general for the match, the high caliber match they could have later, giving Jericho and Benoit the mid card titles that they definitely deserved at the time. Where Kurt Angle was the veteran, wouldn't mind to see him keep those titles in either way, but it was just a nice way to pass the torch and give those two the upcoming members as well. Again, Chris Benoit won the first fall, become the new Intercontinental champion, and then Chris Jericho won the second fall, become the new European champion. Let's see here. You do not boo an Olympic gold medalist. That is right, Robbie. What's up, T and Coupon saying, how are you guys at work on break? Not too bad, my friend. Just getting ready for WrestleMania weekend. Robbie, is it CM Robbie or Robbie Punk? Oh, man, that is true, T and Couponer. Which one is it, Robbie? Tell us in the live chat. But my number 3 on this list is Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit versus Chris Jericho in the 2 out of 3, or just a 2 falls triple threat match for both the Intercontinental and European Championships at WrestleMania 16. My number 2, speaking of CM Punk, we just talked about him very shortly ago. Robbie said, hey, Tina Cooper, Mike wanted me to remind you that if you get counted out or disqualified, it's still a loss. If I'm right, Angle never got pinned in either fall. Yeah, that is correct also, Tia Cooper. Angle did not get pinned in either fall at all in that match as well, which was, why Angle was upset. But things ran it up as well. But speaking of, if you're counted out or disqualified, it's still a loss. My number 2 has to do with that. Because, Undertaker had a lot of great matches in WrestleMania, at WrestleMania in his career. I mean, there's stuff that ones that overshadowed him big time. The end of an era is still probably one of my number 2 my favorites. But he had the great matches. Well, we had the year before, he had a great match with Triple H. And then, of course, the 2 with Shawn Michaels, the classic WrestleMania 25. WrestleMania 26 was great also, but not quite as good as 25, in my opinion. He had another match with Triple H at WrestleMania 17 and a few other. He had to go with Randy Orton and a few others. But one that I, in general, think, definitely, is underrated and is forgotten about because it took place at a really bland and average WrestleMania. It was the first match I ever saw The Undertaker wrestle was at WrestleMania 29. CM Punk versus The Undertaker. Man, was this match great. And the build was great as well. I can't remember for sure. I think there was a qualifying match to who would face The Undertaker. But as soon as CM Punk was the one named who would qualify to face The Undertaker, and this is around a time where Paul Bearer passed away, and they brought that storyline into, the build for Undertaker's match at WrestleMania 29. CM Punk came out there and just attacked, Undertaker in the memory of Paul Bearer, just taking the urn and just, going, oh, Undertaker, just dropping the urn. Like, this thing mean a damn thing to me and everything. And that famous line of Punk like saying, oh, holding the urn, like saying, oh, Paul's trying to tell me something, Taker. And as Robbie and T. Coupon would say in a live chat here, hey, Taker, Paul just wants me to inform you that you get counted out or disqualified, it's still a loss. To Paul Bearer, you'll always be perfect, 20-0, but to me, you'll always be, and the rest of us will be 20-1. This Punk is pushing to, just get into the head of the Undertaker, and then that segment wherever Paul Bearer, Punk continued just to disrespect Undertaker, and then Taker came out and beat down on Punk, and then there's a segment where Paul Heyman came out looking like a duplicate of Paul Bearer. So Taker went out down to confront him, but then he started beating down the other guys on the side. But one of them was Punk, disguised, and he beat down on Taker as well. And the match they had, like Punk said in his podcast, he wrestled that match with a freaking death wish because he wanted to get that time off, and he was ticked off, and he definitely, no doubt about it, had the best match tonight. The mind games that were being involved in that match as well, it was just a lot of crazy stuff, and definitely maybe Punk's best match at WrestleMania, I feel. Well, I mean, his match with Jericho was his last WrestleMania match. His match with Jericho was good. His match with Orton was okay, and same as his match with Rey Mysterio. He did win Money in the Bank, though, twice at WrestleMania, so I got to give that there as well. But I'd say altogether, probably Punk's best match altogether. So that's my number 2, CM Punk versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 29. Enjoy WrestleMania, going back to work, have fun, Tia Couponer. Rob says, don't forget that pause, Mike, before you say it's still a loss. Okay, add in the pause. Yes, definitely. Thanks for reminding that, Robbie. But that is my number 2, CM Punk versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 29. My number 1 on my list for top 10 hidden gems. So first, of course, let's go back again real quick. Just go through my numbers 10 to 2, just to recap again. Number 10 was Shane McMahon versus X-Pac at WrestleMania 15. Again, mainly because of the angle of Triple H turning heel and joining the corporation, and that set the road for him becoming the big star he was. Number 9 was JBL versus Finlay, the Belfast Brawl at WrestleMania 24. Number 8 was John Cena versus Triple H for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 22. Number 7 was Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy, the Extreme Rules match, WrestleMania 25. Number 6 was Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz versus Stardust versus Sin Cara versus Zack Ryder in the Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania 32. Number 5, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 28. Number 4 was John Cena versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30. Number 3 was Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit versus Chris Jericho in the Two Falls triple threat match for the Intercontinental and European Championships, in which Chris Benoit won the Intercontinental title and Chris Jericho won the European Championship at WrestleMania 16. Number 2 was CM Punk versus The Undertaker, number 29. So what is number 1, you think will be? Well, this match was very tough for me to consider it either, because I definitely think it's one of the better matches in this division of all time. However, though, with taking place at a WrestleMania that was definitely mediocre and forgotten, a recent one, I feel like this match in general may not be ranked as high as a lot of people may think it is. So I wasn't sure this would be a hidden gem, but definitely I feel like it may be. So that's why I gave it my number 1. My number 1 in my top 10 WrestleMania Hidden Gems video is Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch in the triple threat match for the returning WWE Women's Championship at WrestleMania 32. Going back and watching all the WrestleManias, there weren't too many matches at WrestleMania between women's wrestlers that meant a lot. I mean, the last one I can really think of was probably Mickey and Trish at 22, which I still consider that more of maybe like a classic if you want to go that far there, as far as, a women's match goes. But this match in general just took everything to another whole level. And I feel like it deserves to be like very highly ranked, but I feel like not too many people would. This is a match featuring 3 of the 4 horsewomen, 3 of the women who wanted to make a difference in the women's division. They weren't even on the main roster the year before. Year before, at WrestleMania 31, we had just a tag team match between AJ Lee, Paige, and the Bellas, which that was a decent match. I'll give that. And the year before, we had just, invitationals, Divas Battle Royals. Some shows there weren't even women's matches at all, or just random tag matches again. We had the Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal, WrestleMania 25, where a man won it. I still get sick to my stomach talking about that match and a few others. But this match, again, we had just 3 women who just came up to make a difference on the main roster. And not only that, the Divas title was retired, and they brought back the women's title. Just everything that was the stops that were pulled off in this triple threat match. Especially my favorite spot was still that moonsault that Charlotte did. I remember watching the first time, I'm just like, whoa, I didn't even think that was even capable of being seen. We saw so many things, on the main roster at least, that we've never seen. Well, from NXT, we've seen some of this stuff. But I wasn't really watching NXT full time yet at the time either. Which was I? Shoot. No, I was. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was. I just started watching NXT full time. So I didn't really see, Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky's long run on down low. Actually, the first ever women's match I ever saw down in NXT was the championship match between Sasha and Becky at TakeOver Revenge, I believe it was. Yeah, that was the first ever TakeOver I watched. And that already, I'm like, whoa, there is something definitely here. And then just this match in general with the 3 of these women, again, to prove that these 2 came up here for accomplish a mission, brought back the women's title, considered not just divas, they're superstars, and they put on a clinic at WrestleMania 32. And to me, probably the biggest takeaway from WrestleMania 32. I mean, yes, we had that incredible Intercontinental title match. Yes, Chris Jericho and AJ Styles was a great match, despite the fact that I feel like Styles should have won and not Jericho. After that, though, everything was what else was there really to happen on the show? So this WrestleMania to me, will be best remembered for this triple threat match. The Women's Championship match, Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch for the returning WWE Women's Championship at WrestleMania 32. That is my number 1 top 10 WrestleMania Hidden Gems. So one more time, go through them again. I will leave the list in the description down below for those of you who catch this video after it is uploaded. But here are my top 10 WrestleMania Hidden Gems. Again, this was Robbie's idea, but again, I wanted to attempt to attempt at it since we haven't been able to really stream because of complications we've been having due to YouTube streaming software. And yes, Fosberg, that's what Chris Jericho was calling us the other night when we were at when Dan and I saw him in concert at Jurgles in Warrendale. So again, here's my list again for my top 10 hidden gems. Again, it's just underrated matches. My top 10 underrated WrestleMania matches. My number 10 is Shane McMahon versus X-Pac in the European Championship match, WrestleMania 15. Number 9, JBL versus Finlay, the Belfast Brawl, WrestleMania 24. Number 8, John Cena versus Triple H for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 22. Number 7, Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy in the Extreme Rules match, WrestleMania 25. Number 6 was Owens versus Zayn, Ziggler, Miz, Stardust, Sin Cara, and Zack Ryder in the IC title ladder match at WrestleMania 32. Number 5 was CM Punk versus Chris Jericho for the WWE title at WrestleMania 28. Number 4 was John Cena versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30. Number 3 was Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit versus Chris Jericho in the Two Falls Intercontinental and European Championship triple threat match where where the first fall got the IC title, which was Chris Benoit. The second fall was winner for the European champion, which was Chris Jericho. Again, it was a great match that, had a veteran taking on two big up-and-coming talent, put them over very well. Number 2 was CM Punk versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 29. And my number 1 pick is Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch in the WWE Women's Championship triple threat match at WrestleMania 32. So thank you to Robbie and T and Couponer for joining me in the live chat. And he said, great list, Mike, and thank you for keeping our vision alive. Oh, sure thing, Robbie, definitely. And make sure, if you got time, Robbie, I'd be interested to see what you would have came up for your top 10 WrestleMania hidden gems as well. If you wouldn't mind, I challenge you to try to make a video to that if you have the time, that is. I know you're busy. I know you just started a new job and everything. So I wouldn't mind hearing what your hidden gems are as well. But I definitely thought there was a great idea that you pitched. And I thought I could at least take up on it, even though we have been having issues with the streaming lately. But again, I will leave the list for my top 10s in the description box down below. If you are catching this stream after it is uploaded, leave your thoughts down in the comment section below of some of your top 10 hidden gems, again, underrated WrestleMania matches of all time. And of course, before I go off the air, as always, let me give my plug in for Robbie. Again, as always, I keep saying, Robbie's my good friend here on YouTube, and he's destined to work for WWE and be a great writer for WWE. He always comes up with a lot of great ideas. I would like to definitely recommend you guys check out his channel of his fantasy prediction videos for Bray Wyatt, Finn Balor, a double turn, a new card he was thinking for not for WrestleMania, for Fastlane. We did one for Survivor Series also back when that terrible card first came out for Survivor Series last year. And recently, Game On versus Game Over, Terry Alexander versus Triple H. Make sure to check out his channel as well. And again, if you do enjoy this stuff, he posts, definitely do hashtag please sign Robbie on Twitter. Again, tag the WWE, Triple H, Vince McMahon, even Stephanie or Shane, somebody, just get Robbie in there, because Robbie most definitely deserves to be writing for the WWE. Once again, hashtag please sign Robbie. So again, guys, the plan for this weekend, again, just a reminder to keep you up to date. First, I did upload Road to WrestleMania episode 31, which is my preview and predictions for WrestleMania 34 and NXT TakeOver New Orleans. It went very well. I do recommend checking that out as well. Leave your thoughts on that. And then again, tomorrow, I'm going to do top 10 topics for this month. It's pretty much going to refer to stuff like around WrestleMania, talk about some call-ups and a couple other things I have in mind for after WrestleMania. So I'll check out that as well. I'll record it and get that uploaded tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, I will do the video for my WrestleMania Q&A that I left a week ago for you guys to leave questions for. Make sure to join that live. I'll be doing that while watching the Hall of Fame ceremony, in which Robbie, I was going to do it Saturday, but I'm going to do it tomorrow night because Saturday night I have something going on before TakeOver, so that's why I'm not going to rely on everybody else trying to get together with me, because I'm not sure I'll be home in time for the start of TakeOver. But tomorrow night, I'm going to Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm picking up an order of crispy, tangy, honey, barbecue, and Parmesan garlic flavor tomorrow. Get my wings and then maybe a couple little treats also to eat while watching the Hall of Fame ceremony. But I will do my live Q&A while I watch the Hall of Fame ceremony. Maybe I'll start it during the red carpet also, but we'll see. Well, but that's tomorrow. Saturday night, I will do live reactions during the Gargano and Ciampa unsanctioned matches. I've been waiting for that match for 322 days. As Ciampa or Gargano mentioned, that's the exact amount of days spent since that turn happened. I'll do live reactions for that and my live review of NXT TakeOver New Orleans. And then Sunday, again, either I will do my review when I get home, or if I do my review with Dan Gaiza, I will do a review on his channel, and then I'll probably just leave my own review for first thing on Monday for that as well. And then next week, Raw, SmackDown, I'll do my first 205 live review, and NXT, depending on how next week's show goes, because usually the show after the TakeOver is usually just, the dark matches from the TakeOver show, which sometimes we're talking about something like, and nothing really happened, so just scratch it for this week. But that's a plan for next week as well. So guys, I keep saying also just be patient with me, because this month is very busy. I'll definitely just remind you more details when the time gets closer, when I take that vacation at the end of the month. So Robbie, T and Couponer, once again, thank you for tuning. Thank you for tuning in for this live. Robbie says, Mike, not trying to give any writers in WWE ideas, but what if Noam Dar feuded with Finn Balor because he wants the beautiful Becky Lynch? Well, I'm trying to think. I mean, my thing about love stories sometimes with WWE, they've been a little bit risky lately and not really the best. I mean, we had Alicia Fox and Cedric Alexander and Noam Dar, and then we almost had Nia Jax and Enzo Amore. If it works, give it a try. I mean, it's in your hands, Robbie. I trust you more than all the other 30 writers. Heck, I would even trust you with your idea with the Rusev Day and Maharaja Day idea in your hands. Anybody else's hands, I would not trust. Let's put it that way. So maybe make a video on some of those topics, Robbie. I definitely, maybe it could be. And no, I don't know if it was something to help elevate Becky Lynch also. Oh, no, I hated that. Would you just shut the hell up? Literally, she asked for it that day. Again, I was already pissed off. I can't remember what it was. I just remember I was just pissed off, and it happened so finally I was like, what now? I just exploded into my TV. Oh, that poor big screen. But yes, anyways, Robbie, yes, again, I definitely recommend doing more fancy prediction videos when you have time. Again, on the Bailey heel turn idea video. Even one for Finn Balor and Noam Dar and Becky Lynch, or even, even for Rusev Day and Maharaja Day, just keep pitching your ideas, Robbie, because we definitely want to just continue to endorse you as well to get into the WWE. And she sees that Alicia Fox is actually in New Orleans. Wonder if she'll be in the Women's Battle Royale, which someone told me recently that she did do some type of podcast recently where she was pretty much just told her story pretty much about her being in the WWE and how she's thinking about leaving it. And it did kind of help people get some sympathy for her, which, I'll definitely listen to it. I don't know Alicia Fox, the person, at all, but I've never been a fan of her character. She just drives me nuts. Oh man, especially I hated her a lot whenever she was involved with that feud with Paige. She was just going like psycho every week and whatnot. But again, it worked for her character. But it's just she just never been a huge Alicia Fox fan. But I definitely check that out and definitely hear from the actual person herself and just hear her own story, because it definitely gives you a better perspective on them and their careers as well. So I think I want to check out here, guys. Go to top 10 topics. Again, Robbie, T and Couponer, thank you for tuning in for this live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for the live Q&A. Be sure to click that like and subscribe or come to this channel and follow me on Twitter at TheManAirBrownie3. Again, I will leave my list again for my top 10 WrestleMania Hidden Gems in the description box below. Leave yours as well in the comment section below as well. So guys, thank you for tuning in. I am checking out. Until then, guys, have a great night, and let's get started as we are now 2 days away from WrestleMania. Well, yeah, still 3 days away from WrestleMania 34, and we are 2 days away from NXT TakeOver New Orleans. It's going to be a fun, exciting weekend. So, guys, have a lot of fun this weekend. It's a great weekend to be a wrestling fan, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace, everybody.